Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to look at the associative property of multiplication. I'm going to start with a few multiplication problems here, and we're going to go over how they're similar. First of all, I'm going to start with 4 times 50. I ask myself, what's 4 times 50? Well, 4 times 50 could be a little bit hard if I wanted to do the whole thing, so I'm going to just make it simple. I know that 4 times 5 is 20, and if I add a 0, I have 200. I also know then that 4 times 50 would be 200, or 4 50s would be 200. 50 plus 50 plus 50 plus 50 would be 200. I also know that 4 times 5 is 20. Then 20 times 10. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. If I have 2 zeros, that is also 200. 20 tens, or 10 20s, is also 200. All right. Now, I'm going to ask you a new math problem here, equation, and I want you to see if it makes sense, if it works. So, mathematicians, does 4 times 50 equal 4 times 5 times 10? Okay, that's our problem. Does 4 times 50 equal 4 times 5 times 10? Well, we knew from before that 4 times 50 equaled 200. All right. Well, I'm going to decide now that I like my tens, so I'm going to do my 5 times 10 first, and that equals 50. And I knew from before that 4 50s, 4 times 50, equaled 200. So yes, boys and girls, 4 times 50 does equal 4 times 5 times 10. Now, let's look at another one. I'll erase that. Let's try 3 times 60, 3 times 6, and 18 times 10. All right, once again, I know that 3 times 6 is 18. If I add the 0, I have 80, or I have 180, so 3 60s is 180. Okay. I also know that 3 times 6 is 18. Then I know that 18 times 1 is 18, and 18 times 10 would be 180. All right, moving forward, we'll use those numbers, 3 and 60, 3 and 6, to do the next part of our problem. Okay, so once again, we know that all those things work because it's the associative property of multiplication. Any way you do the multiplication, it's always going to be the same. So if I had 3, 5, and 2, any way that I multiply these three numbers, I'm always going to have the same answer. So I'll show you. 3 times 5, I'm going to do that first and put it so I know I'm putting parentheses, times 2. 3 times 5 is 15. And then 2 times 15 is 30. Okay. I'm going to also try 3 times 5 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 10 is 30. And lastly, I'm going to try it like this. 3 times 2 times 5. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 6 equals 30. That is the associative property of multiplication. Have a good night, mathematicians.